Hello and welcome in to the Sorare Data Show. I am Andrew Laird. You can find me as Lairdinho on Sorare. Today, talking about the S word, which I appreciate a lot of people in the chat are trying to guess what it is. And I think there is one person who has it. Thank you to everybody for coming in. Mikey Baston on top of the podium. Let's go. S word, sword? It's not sword. Ryan Wilkinson. Can't wait to see what all those items have in common with a sword. And Risu, more Sessons talk. Congratulations to you three on the podium. So Recovery is the S word sorry for dissing TNS. What was TNS again? Sorry. Johnny Shambolic, which is my performance this week. SR Monkey in the house. Way to be. Thanks for coming in. Saw there was a new Sorare Ramble out this week. Without Haber, though, I noticed. We'll see. Stefan, what's up? Johnny, Mike Basson. It's the last Friday of BST. It's 5 p.m. It's leisure time, Laird. So yeah, BST ends this weekend. We go back to GMT. You go back to GMT. But fun fact, in the US, we wait another week. So it's great. Mike said, I'm hoping this S word is for Shaforkle. Is Shaforkle here? Oh yeah, let's go. Maybe it is. Maybe it is. Anyway, Red Panda, I find the have you liked the stream polls to be quite effective reminders. Oh, that's good. Yeah. Please like the stream. Excuse me. Colonel Dickweed, what's up? Sorare Soul. I'm gonna guess sentiment. Not quite. Not quite. SR Monkey, Yellow Submarine, Strawberry Fields. Is this show about the Beatles? I should do a whole show about the Beatles. There was a time in my life where I read like the Beatles biography, which is like this thick. And I would listen to the Beatles while I read it. And I was like, the Beatles rabbit hole you can go down is wild. Just wild. Scosmo, what's up? Scosmo is guessing sustainability is the S word. So we'll see. Shaforkle in the house. Way to be. Anyan, what's up? Super Totoro. Dirk, smash the like button. Sorare Burrow. Kai. Scosmo said, or I'll be a narcissist and say Scosmo. Philly Dilly's guessing strategery. Johnny said sardines. Ryan said the week of NBA games starting at 11:30. That's not for me. Philly Dilly, S word is clearly super rare. One word, he's putting it, so don't worry about it. Ben said, I don't hold this opinion, but is the word scam? That's an interesting one. Sir Soul, favorite Beatles song. I find that I go in like different moods because like the Beatles obviously had some very different periods. And so, what they did early on is very different from what they did by the end. And it's weird because for a long time, I used to say that Here Comes the Sun was my favorite song, but it wasn't my favorite Beatles song, which made no sense because obviously it's their song. But for the purposes of this, I will say Here Comes the Sun is my favorite Beatles song. It's a great one. I mean, they've got a lot of good tunes. There's a reason why lots of people know them and love them. Anyway, the S word. Do I give it away right now? Yes, I'll give it away. Scosmo nailed it. The S word was sustainability. I don't want to talk about Sorare, like how Sorare are able to use sustainability as a way to make the game less attractive for us. Because that's kind of what it feels like. It's becoming kind of a crutch whenever they make a decision and they're like, oh, it's more sustainable. And every time there's like a change and there's the kind of this like dual feedback that they get of like, I don't like this change because usually it means like we get less and they get more. And then there's the other side of like, well, it's more sustainable, so that's good. And people who hear that grow tired of it. And admittedly, I use it all the time. There's plenty of tape of me talking about why sustainability is important. And I remember a show a while back. I don't remember if it was a Sorare Andrews, but Nanzo was in the chat and he was like, can we please stop caring about sustainability? I don't think those were his exact words. In fact, I think his words were more along the lines of, I don't know why so many people are obsessed with Sorare sustainability. Scosmo said there's nothing sustainable about making continuous changes for sustainability. A sustainability change should be a one-time change because you have a target you are pivoting to, not an iteration. Philly Dilly said, maybe Sorare should have known better, but I never would have guessed the issue was too many people crafting a tier 5s. And Mike said, it's the easy thing to use in a positive way, but hide behind in a negative way. So I think the difficulty in not allowing them to use. So, sorry, Philly said Scosmo makes a legit point, and that's what I was going to address Scosmo's point. Philly Dilly said, it seems like we are constantly changing without seeing the impacts. And Ben said, I'd love an explainer video from Sorare explaining why they are making a decision. So I think that the difficulty with using sustainability as a reason for doing things is that it's the truth. And because, and this is another thing that I've said on this channel, and it feels very apologetic for Sorare because it probably is, but we have to remember this has not been done before, and that there are no similar companies that have been even moderately successful doing what Sorare are trying to do. And so expecting them to have every right answer is absurd. I think you could make the argument they tend to have more incorrect answers than correct answers. And that's going to happen when you're in completely uncharted territory. And the adjustments that they make to the game usually are based on the goal of making sure the company is more successful. And that kind of always feels like it runs counter to users being more successful. Like the more that Sorare take, there's less for us to get. And it's probably true. But also, the less that they get and the more that we get eventually leads to them not existing. And that seems bad. And Sorare Cumry said it earlier. When you've previously lost a fortune on Football Index, sustainability is everything. So there have been multiple people who have reached out to me in the past couple days, really. I don't know like what happened in the last couple days because I never really get these types of messages. But I've gotten a couple of them. And I'm not going to pull a PSU fans and say that like because 3 people said something to me, everyone feels this way. But I've seen an increase. It's like literally a handful, but it went from 0 to a handful of people who are like, hey, I'm coming back to Sorare after playing something else. And, it's way different. Can you help me? And the common thing that these people have is that they left Sorare to play other games, not necessarily fantasy football games. Usually it's like Web3 type stuff. But they left Sorare to go to these other games because they looked more attractive, and those games don't exist anymore because they were unsustainable. And there was a Twitter thread from MPen, I think it was yesterday, with kind of a step back view of Sorare and what's going on. And it was kind of in light of the Essence thing, but he didn't really touch on that. That wasn't the point of it. But I think we could all use a step back for a second and at least appreciate that the game that we all joined at some point in the last 4-ish years is still here. And that's a plus. Now, the game that you joined the game that existed when you joined probably would not exist if it was still that game. So I think we have to appreciate that part of it, that a lot of the changes that are made, basically every change that Sorare make is for the benefit of Sorare, the company, of continuing to exist. Now, it did feel like we were at a point where Threshold was going to actually end the platform. Like they were actually paying out more than they were making. And if you know anything about either businesses, finance, accounting, if you spend more than you make, you won't last very long. And so we have to kind of recognize that the game that we all joined to play, which looks super attractive to us as users, doesn't exist anymore. And part of it is because it just wouldn't exist. David said, "What I don't get is that sustainability has become a dirty word. I get called out for even bringing it up." So, and I think the you getting called out for it, and I do too, is because it comes off like we are trying to convince people that a decision a decision about the platform that has made the user situation worse is a positive, and people have a very difficult time appreciating that a positive for Sorare and a negative, and the negative, as people will see it, to them is a net positive because Sorare continues to exist and it continues to be on the path to being a sustainable platform that can continue to exist year after year after year. And absolutely zero part of the consideration of how much money do I put into Sorare is how long will this game last? And that's not quite what I wanted to say, but I lost where I was going with that. My apologies. Sorare Soul said, "I think we'd love any videos from Sorare, full stop." Maybe. David said, "Honestly, haven't felt as exasperated with the wider community more than this week." Someone remind me about that, because I think the community response to the essence change, and that's kind of what sparked the sustainability thing this week. I think it was the response was completely warranted. Or let me rephrase. The feelings were warranted. The arguments, I don't think, held much water. And I think a majority of those arguments basically came from, how did Sorare not see this coming when Peter Stoyanov saw it coming? And there were a handful of people that were like, "I don't think this is going to work." And everybody else was like, "Who cares? Look how good it is. This is going to be it." And then when they address an issue to allow the platform to continue to exist, we feel like it's a negative because something's like, essentially our future earnings are being taken away from us, is how people are looking at it. Toby said, "Without Sorare being sustainable, there won't be a Sorare. Obviously, we can't let them abuse it, but come on. We could all see that the boxes were overpowered when it came to essence." See, Toby, I don't think people did realize that. And I'm not even sure the boxes themselves, like the amount of essence, was the problem. It was more the milestone levels, I think. Ben said, "I understand that nobody has done NFT fantasy sports before, so that you can't benchmark against those companies, but you can benchmark against other companies that were first to market in their sector." I think it's just totally different. Yeah, and learn from their mistakes. I don't see any other company. Like, what company can you look at that has enough similarities to how Sorare works and learn from their mistakes? And maybe they have. Maybe there are plenty of other companies that they've learned mistakes from. Maybe they could have gone bankrupt 3 years ago. Who knows? Um, Mike said it would be sustainable for them to understand most users don't have patience and are willing to gamble rather than wait. I think that the number of people who craft cards right away is a surprise to them. The fact that we went from when Essence was announced and everyone was like, "Oh wow, like you can save up and like guarantee yourself a tier 1 or a star. Like that's awesome." And then when it comes into play and everyone's like, "I can craft a card now, I'm doing it right now." And like everybody did it. Scosmo said, "My biggest issue with the change is more of the fact it's outside of the window of change they committed to in January or the summer." So that's actually an interesting one. And I'm Scosmo, I think you mentioned that the other day, and it I hadn't the way that I wanted to respond to that was like they're just kind of making an adjustment. It's not like a gameplay change, and I'm guessing that's what they would argue. And that like, oh, the amount of essence that they're going to be rewarding isn't like a full-fledged gameplay change. But man, they sold Essence as a humongous gameplay change and to like keep tweaking it outside of these windows. And I'm not sure like we're like the number of people who made this comment like we bought all these cards and now they're lowering Essence, and it's like I don't think you would have changed the cards that you bought had the current Essence been the original, like the Essence distributions. But I could be wrong. Soul said, let's assume they plotted an economic model for Essence, but there are many variables they couldn't predict. Surely a variable they could have controlled is not letting the crafts being TN plus. So you would want to craft, sorry. So you want to craft with 20 Essence, you get a tier 5 instead of tier 5 plus. Yeah, I saw some comments about that, and I don't think it works. I don't think Essence works without the plus, the possibility that you could get something higher, because otherwise it's almost like that they gave us this little carrot of, hey, you could win something big in exchange for not winning as often as you do. Like the whole point of Essence is that it's a piece of a card. It's a progression bar to a card. And the reason they did that is because they're running out of cards to reward in rare and super rare and unique. And they're not there at limited yet, but I think the hope is that they do get there because it means more people are playing. And so in exchange for not winning as many or winning cards as often, we are accepting a very low chance that instead of this low card that we're going to win, that we could have won, we could get a very much higher one. And maybe the percentages are just too, I mean, they're still very low. I mean, 0.1% for a star in a first milestone is not big. Cosmo said, so they have free reign to make changes to rewards when they want. That doesn't seem sustainable. I mean, they make changes every game week to the reward pool. Like, just think of the reward tiers. So Josh says, but to reduce it by so much shows that their numbers and simulations were wildly off. So can we trust them in the future? Who's to say they don't do it with the monetary rewards in a month? I mean, I don't know what their numbers and simulations told them, but I think it's reasonable to understand why it wasn't right. Like the number of outcomes were significantly wide, and it's basically trying to predict how people think. I don't know. Sorry, I'm catching up on the Blue Tomatoes. Hello. The S word is sustainability. Scosmo said a lot of changes are for sustainability, excuse me. Some work, some don't, for different groups, us versus them. The issue is the excuse of sustainability and lack of accountability. what accountability do you want? Like they make if they were super open about this and told us like we thought people wouldn't craft as quickly as they do. Here were our numbers. This is why we have to change it. What does that change for us? Do we just want like the acknowledgement that they were wrong? Or not even wrong, but that their projections had a certain outcome and it turned out to be different. It's like that's what a projection is. It's just an estimate. And sometimes they're usually wrong. So Josh said, I think a lot of modern businesses hide behind words such as sustainability to cover up their greed and incompetence. If it was purely sustainability driven, they wouldn't have reduced market credit too. So you think it's just greed, that they're just taking more out, and incompetence, I guess. So Malta said, the way I look at it is if I were a new user today, the gameplay and comps are better than they've ever been. There's a clear pathway to be successful and the risk is much lower. It's hands down better. I agree. Lairdinho, what's up? Sustainability is obviously important, but it's also important to acknowledge that people have lost a lot of money. Don't need to compensate people, but they've had a lot of support from users. But I mean, how do you want them to acknowledge that people have lost money? Like, I don't get it. Skazmo said, if a change is implemented well, sustainability change, we're doing the right thing. If it's implemented poorly, the sacrifice is needed for sustainability. It's never, we got this one wrong. I mean, if they got it right, there wouldn't be a change. Like the change itself is them admitting they were wrong, right? As our monkey said, I remember the first show you, Peter, and Mike did. Peter's major concern in that show has happened. It just happened 6 months earlier than even he thought. Yeah. Fabio said, how can they talk about sustainability when they are just launching a promo with 3 new teams where they're offering even more essence when purchasing cards? Where is the coherence? Well, offering essence from cards is ensuring that they have gotten revenue to produce like before that essence instead of just rewarding essence. Rikamon said, do you think a change in the essence milestone and or percentage of each tier would have been accepted better? I do. I do. I think there are certain things that Sorare package in a way that is in that could have been delivered better. I think they have some like branding issues in terms of their gameplay things that could work. And that's has nothing to do with essence and the word essence. Philly Dilly said, just looking at new boxes now, if I was a strictly rare player and got 20 super rare essence, I'd be pissed. So it's so funny you say that because I was in a conversation on Discord with Gator Guy, M-Pen, and Peter. And Gator Guy was saying how much he loved it because he was like, the ability to like craft a unique from 20 unique essence from super rares, like that's awesome. And Peter, I apologize, Peter, if you didn't want this out in the open, but Peter's like, what the hell am I going to do with rare essence? I only play limited. I don't want to play rare. So don't give me essence towards a card that I'm like, I'm never going to want to buy that rare. And maybe never's dramatic, although he probably said that. And then Vita said the same thing on Twitter. And he was like, why would I don't play super rare at all. Why would I want to win super rare essence? Literally the top prize in rare competitions now for like reward boxes is super rare essence. And it reminded me like way back when, and Sorare did this in the first year of, I can't remember if it was MLB. It was MLB. Yeah. Because I won some competition and won like a tier 3 super rare, and second place got like a star rare, and my card was worthless. Did nothing for my guy. I didn't play super rare. You can't play down scarcities. So like that card literally meant nothing to me. And it was like my first play. It infuriated me. And football did it for a while, where like the top prize was like, oh, you win a scarcity higher up. And the outcry from the community was like, we don't want that. There was less outcry from people playing limited and going up to rare, but it was the rare to super rare when people were like, I would rather a better tier rare than a lower tier super rare. No doubt. And Sorare decided to adjust it by giving away super rare and a rare. And it was like, okay, and everybody looked at the rare as the prize, and the super rare is like just the extra, which was usually worthless. And now they just went back to it. Like the top prize is the one that the people want the least. So that's got to change. I really hope they change that, because now, granted, I play rare and super rare. I struggle to win super rare essence, and so like getting super rare essence would be great for me. But I am absolutely in the minority and think that they should get rid of it. Red Panda said, surely this is a better outcome than running out of cards in March, right? And I think that's what it is. Sorry, let me catch up on the chat. I'm like 10 minutes behind on it. Sir Josh said, I think boxes and the essence model works perfectly at limited, okay at rare, but not enough cards, and simply doesn't work at super rare and unique. I don't know how many super rares are being crafted, actually. I don't know. Scosmo said, also, this is another example of Sorare brought on own hyperbole. This in isolation is not that great, but it's just action 108 in a row that adds to this negative sentiment. They knew nothing to win. No Name Informer said, winning 20 super essence is also called winning $10. I mean, maybe. So Andrew said, what if they made it tier 5 through 3 for 20 essence, tier 4 for 2 for 50, tier 3 through 1 for 100, and so on. So I think that would slow it down, but then everybody would just craft at 100. Yeah, it just moves the problem. It doesn't. Johnny said that carrot was like going into rare pro with limited. Sorare have tried their best to support all kinds of Sorare holders. BNP Donkey said the essence changes come after we pumped in money based partly on what we can win with boxes factored in. So I completely agree with you, but I also think that had the levels been set originally at what they are now, like the adjusted ones, I don't think it would have been less. Like, I don't think most people are spending the less money. If that makes sense. Like, it's easy for us to be like, no, it's less essence, so we would definitely spend less money, but I just don't think we would have. I think we would have been like, oh, cool, you can win essence. Like, I think most people don't like really dive into it like we tend to. But I don't. I didn't look at how much essence I could previously win, and I didn't look at what I can win now. I just know I want to win it. Like, the detail is not changing how I play at all. Andy said, there's a bar near me that prices draft beer based on real-time supply and demand. Sorare should use this algorithm, to adjust crafting prices at each tier on a real-time basis. Hashtag beer tier. That's a great play on words with the word craft also, Andy, whether you meant it or not. Sorare should adjust the algorithm to adjust crafting prices at each tier on a real-time basis. So does that mean like when everybody is crafting on Tuesdays and Fridays, you should get worse cards? Escape Prez, what up? What's up? Said, glad I made it. Happy Friday. What's the S word? So where are we in a dip yet? Scosmo said, you'll forget by the time you get here, but the explanation on a longer term basis of decisions gives confidence to the decisions and gets buy-in. And the quiet comes do the opposite and create toxicity. Yeah. So you guys just want to know how the sausage is made. And that's okay if that's what it comes down to. That ultimately we just want a lot more transparency. Johnny said, I noticed Sorare has lost all the traders, seeing goal scorers score and no one buying their limited straight away anymore. I don't think the traders are gone. Sir Josh said, I think they knew when Peter did the current model wasn't right, but it hadn't finished pumping out a lot of auctions and wanted to maximize the revenue at the expense of us users. So yes, it's greed. All right. Josh said, I wouldn't have minded if the comp started like it was now because the prices we paid for players would have been lower in the first place. So it would have been relative. See, I don't think that's right. Now we can't prove it. It's just two opinions here. But I don't think that there were nearly that many people who looked at how much essence you could win and did the math to decide to figure out exactly how long it would take for you to craft certain cards and then decide how much you were willing to pay based off of those crafting timelines. I would be shocked if there were people out there. Is there a single piece of content out there that somebody talked about this with the numbers? I bravo to them if they did it. But I just never saw it. And Peter's analysis of essence also included some significant assumptions that he was open about, that he was he explained the assumptions and all. But I just don't think I ever saw somebody directly say, I paid this for this card because I know that based off of the essence that I could win with it, it'll pay off in whenever. Ace Pair, welcome. I don't know that name. It is not that they needed to predict people's behavior, but the maths of crafting something, which they obviously failed to do. No, I think the maths of crafting came about because of the way that people behaved. Ben said, we don't even know what tier of card they're running out of. It's surely got to be the upper tier ones. Running out of tier 5 cards. They'll never run out of tier 5 cards. Tier 4, tier 3. Never. Dream Oblivion said, Sorare lured players in to buy in season and after 2 months decreased significantly the rewards. As a user, I feel betrayed. Removing thresholds for new season is a good approach and not like this. So the cash rewards are the same though, right? The same number of people, or excuse me, the same percentage of people are winning boxes. It's the essence in the boxes that is this significant decrease that we probably wouldn't have noticed had it just been there at the first place, right? Wheathin said it still gives players a shot to progress to unique, meaning the upper tier, upper scarcity essence feels similar to the old model. That's an old model that it almost felt like Sorare finally admitted that progression is not progressing up in scarcities. That you can't win your way up, at least through cards. And now they're going back. Sorry, hold on. Scosmo said, thinking about it, it almost encourages reverse progression as it incentivizes me to play rare now as a super rare player to get extra super rare essence. but no one is stepping up from winning the essence. It makes no sense to me. Fabio said they are rewarding their pockets, and there is nothing wrong with that, but they cannot always be cutting the rewards of former users who invested their money. I mean, how else can you cut rewards then? Scosmo said super rare essence in rare pro in the old world would have been a great idea, though, just a bit late. That would have been great. You're right. Ricky said lack of accountability is they claimed the changes to top division boxes would accelerate progress towards crafting when they have reduced the amount of essence in those boxes. Marketing speech, not accounting. Like the top divisions still are the faster way to crafting. Like the top divisions still have the better reward boxes. Philly Dilly said, how is your super rare experience going since Essence was introduced? I feel like my super rare EPL is okay, but it's been a struggle. Mine's been terrible. But I also didn't have like great super rares. Like I had super rares for Cap 240. And yeah, like overall, it hasn't been great. I say that I won Division 2 super rare. I won Evander and like cool card and all with 3 games of in-season utility left. But yeah. Nanzo said, I'm willing to give Sorare grace on Essence. The problem is not communicating. It's a beta feature subject to considerable change. I mean, did they not tell us that? I mean, they didn't call it beta. But like, I feel like every announcement, it's like, we're going to review this to see how this works and we can make changes. And we hear that and we're just like, oh, it's going to go up. Like, surely in the announcement, am I going to have to pull this up? I don't really want to pull it up. It's going to be a lot of silent content of me scrolling through the Sorare blog looking for the update on Essence. If somebody wants to do that while you listen, that'd be great. But like, surely they included something like, oh, it'll like, we're going to have to review and it'll change. They did that with Threshold and then they changed it. They made it harder. Ricomon said, my main issue with the whole running out of cards by March is that's when MLS, K-League, J-League are all with new cards. Not in Champ. Mike said, very few people actually moved up from winning full-on super rare cards. So it's hardly think that people will look to step up, based on Essence. Agreed. Yet so rare, I think it's still attractive to the majority. There's no way. There's no way that a majority of users yeah, I don't think there's no way that a majority of the users want that. Because I think a lot of users are single scarcity, are limited users, and winning super rare essence is worthless to them. As long as like essence can't be transferred, it'll just sit there forever. Hey, congratulations, you got the 0.1% outcome. Here's something you'll never use. Josh said, ultimately, we're buying the auctions to win money. The essence was a nice bonus. It's just always tough when the goalposts move with less than a week notice. So thank you. Like, I think that's right. I think the boxes were always the bonus. The cash was the reward. The boxes were allowing them to say, hey, look, more people are winning now. Doing it that quickly seemed a little wild to me. Like the whole, we're cutting this in half and it's effective right now. Like that delivery makes it sound like their estimations were like wildly off. That's like, oh no, if we don't change this right now, we are in huge trouble. And the community felt that. Whether it's true or not, I have no idea. Victor said the detail is changing how I buy in the future. That's fair. Ben said, on the running out of cards, why not just go over the arbitrary limits they set at 1,000 limiteds and 100 rares? It's a game. I don't care if there's 1,200 limiteds of a popular card. The platform is literally dead if they do that. Like, dead. Colonel Dickweed agrees. Skazmo said, I want to know that they understand what they are changing by them explaining it. We have to assume sustainability or whatever the changes are for. Would be good to hear from them their explanations. So, Skazmo, I couldn't agree more. I think there's just a different. I'm trying to think of how I want to say this. I'm not trying to hide anything. I just don't have the actual words here. But not saying anything obviously leads to this sustainability speculation. And I don't think a lot of users like to feel uncertain about what's going on, and not hearing from Sorare other than the decision leads to some uncertainty. Kind of just like, did they get it that wrong? That they have to cut it in half? And again, I think that there are plenty of aspects about Sorare that, to put it bluntly, like, is none of our business. But hearing what they were reviewing, like what data ultimately led you to this decision? And if it was simply like people are crafting cards too quickly, then at least, like, okay, we get it. You guys, like, you had a projection of how often cards are going to be crafted. We're just a bunch of degens. And so when we got to the lowest one with that 0.1% chance at a star, we went for it. We saw these content creators get these star and tier ones from their lowest one. And they were like, well, if Nep can do it, I'll do it. And, Twitter's all full of the ones that people hit and none of the tier fives, because why would anybody share that? And the excitement that came out of crafting, like, that was the other thing. There's an excitement about crafting. And so people like share that excitement. And so it's like, oh, I want that too. And so at the first instance, it's like, I'm going to do that. And if they were just say, like, it was just a lot more than we thought, we all sit back and we're like, okay. It's not like they could look back at previous crafting data. That doesn't exist. But you also don't want all of their content to just be, this is why we were wrong. Lam V400, another name I'm not familiar with, so welcome. Rivals feel so pointless right now after they remove the high roll possibilities, shirts and cards. Winning 2 essence at best just feels pointless. Sure, reduce the chances, but at least let me dream. Where did they remove shirts? Like, Tuggy won a shirt 2 days ago, 3 days ago. Is it just in like the standard boxes, like the random boxes you win for scoring 60 points with a sub defender with a name that starts with S? Lairdinho said, would be interesting to compare the level to which people are content with the game grouped by when they joined. That would be fun. Toby said you can still win a star limited through Rivals. Josh said, you're right when it comes to the stars because you buy them to win the high cash bots, but the low mid-tier players, I feel, were bought to grind boxes, almost like a progression bar, and are affected. But like, how much are you, excuse me, how much are you willing to, or how much less do you think your card is worth knowing the change in essence? Like, is a 50% drop in essence making you think that you should have paid 50% less for your card? Your low and mid-tier card that you're using to box grind? Quinny, what's up? I know Quinny liked on arrival. If everybody else could please like the stream, that would be really nice. Man, the chat is bumping today. Andreas said, I believe the handling of the issue is really at the center of the issue. Andreas, you have no idea how much I actually feel that personally after this week. Anyway, changing a major part of the game within less than a week while branding it as an adjustment, although was a clear downgrade. They didn't change a major part of the game. I would fully say this is like, that is an adjustment. Xeon Star said, Sorare removing cards, Sorare data removing NBA and MLB. We are in a doom spiral at this point. Spiral, another S word. Soramata, on the old way, they realized that old specialist was unequivocally the best comp ever to have existed. Tear rolls down face. Toby said top divisions got nerfed way less than the lower divisions. And Mike said, so the simple solution would have been to adjust the craft levels as they did when they changed from tier 4 from 40 to 50. You know what's fun? Like, maybe it's because I'm not smart enough, but isn't it basically the same thing? Changing the crafting level or rewarding less essence. And in that situation, like if like someone please, I'm like 10 minutes back in the chat, so I'm not going to see if you correct me for another few minutes, but please correct me if I'm wrong. That the two options were rewarding less essence or increasing the threshold levels, milestone levels. And if those two things accomplish the same goal, surely you don't pick the one that comes off as you rewarding less, right? Right? GS said the good thing in all of this that difficulties force Sorare to listen to users and make adjustments, like card stats on the back. If they were floating in money, they wouldn't listen that much. Yeah, Mike, sorry that this is a pants-on episode. Here we go. Nanzo said, content creators bear some responsibility. Essence was overhyped into something it was never intended to be. It wasn't sold as being a focus. It's simply a replacement for winning cards in boxes. So I could not disagree with you more. Reward boxes were never sold to us as a replacement for cards. It was presented to us as more people will win. Like, we were getting to a point, and everybody forgets that we would complain about all the tier 5 cards that we would win. Like, we'd win a tier 5 and people would be upset because it was like a nobody. And it was even worse because only like 9% of people were winning. Like, reward boxes were an increase in rewards. Like, that's how it was presented. And that's something to be hyped about. What's better, 8% of people winning or 50% or 25%? Not to shit on Classic, sorry. Lairdinho said, wait until they add a time limit to Essence in the next 2 months. Yeah. Some friends chatter. I like that. Tuesday said, the amount of top cards won with tier 5 crafts is just stupid. That's the problem. It's not the amount of essence. So the top cards are 0.1%. Like, the star cards that are being crafted is 0.1%. The problem is how many people craft. Like, every time there are 1,000 people who craft a tier 5, the lowest threshold in rare, 1,000 people, 5 get a star. Like they're probably giving out more stars now than they ever did with the regular rewards. That's why they're running out. Smooth Boy said, how's smuggling the reduction of market credits related to adjusting essence? What's the relation between the two? When did they announce this change? The to be honest, I didn't even know they adjusted the market credits. Josh Excel sticking up for the content creators. Excels? Sorry. If you create something that is able to be focused on, that's on Sorare, not people who see the value in the thing they added. I like that. Sorare Josh says, Scosmo is correct. We shouldn't have to go to Peter or MPen to get our answers. We should get the answers from the horse's mouth. Hey, Peter, what's up? Speaking of Stoyanov, also an S. Salverin, maybe. Hello. I don't know. Recognize. It's a lot of new people coming into the. I don't know if you guys are new watching or just new to participating in the chat. Either way, I love it. Welcome. Anyway, Salverin said, it seems that some of the tier 5s that were budgeted as rewards are down to 6, 25, and other really low numbers. It seems like they really didn't assume that we would all degen at 20 essence. So, Peter, since I know you're here, correct me if I'm wrong, but Peter said it wasn't about the number of tier 5 crafts, which I'm not sure is what I thought. Well, I know it's not what I thought. Joe said, I'm thinking crafting has to be reworked in general. There is no reason a 20 essence craft should be able to craft an Mbappe. Maybe 1 tier up, maybe 2, but not 4. The system doesn't encourage saving. So, Joe, you're right that the system doesn't really encourage saving, but you have to have a system that rewards crafting at 20, or else all they would do was give away stars. Like we would all wait. And that's the only thing they would give away. And they can't do that either. So a lot of people, Mike said only 10 minutes. I'm only 6 minutes behind now. Surface said, why is it important to like the stream? Is the amount of likes related to an algorithm that affects who sees us? Is it related to income received? Do you use it as an internal metric? It is now related to the algorithm that YouTube uses to pass this video along to others. Ryan said, I think this will be the episode that causes Laird to need a holiday. Ryan, I totally the opposite. I feel alive now. Like I love having conversations like this, somehow by myself, reading your messages. But no, I love this. Anyway, Andrea said, changing the crafting and the essence is the same. If both are reduced, increased by the same ratio. However, you cannot change ratios now unless you multiply the amount people have saved to match. Ryan said, I think changing the milestone actually pisses people off more as it seems less honest. People will realize what's going on. Okay. Germ said, slow down, Laird. They're listening and will do both, lower essence and increase crafting threshold. I mean, they might. Andrea said, imagine having 400 essence now and they make stars 1,000. So this is actually where I go back to Scosmo saying they should only do this in Windows. And maybe that's the kind of change that they do in a window. But I mean, Andreas, is it all that different if you're used to winning 10 essence a game week and now you're winning 5? But I guess it's just maybe it's a glass half full, half empty thing. I don't know. Same thing, but not. ZM Star said, it goes back to what you've been going on about people's behavior. One is taking away from the user, less essence. Increasing milestones makes it more of a challenge. You feel like you have some control over one of the options. That's how I feel. Yeah. Sorry, I keep adjusting my chair. Those who are listening would have no idea. But I sit on a really uncomfortable chair while I do these streams, and I have like for years. And I finally put a cushion on it. Literally, it was a wooden chair. Like that's my chair. And the cushion's too big, and so I have to keep adjusting it. But Harry said he wouldn't talk to me anymore if I kept sitting on just a hard chair for these. So apologies for me constantly like adjusting here. Anyway. Is Nanzo saying Sorare content creators are wankers? I mean, we kind of are. James Lynch, hello. TK Divb? TKDIVB. Anyway, two more names that I am not familiar with. So in the end, we should be giving them money. They will do whatever they want. Just great. Good for me that I'm only playing this for fun. I mean, that's kind of been the situation the whole time. Peter said, yes, they would be giving more stars out if people pulled at higher essence amounts. Yeah. It's flawed math saying you're giving out more stars at 20 essence than 50 essence. Josh said, I've just caught up, which is one of us since I'm still behind on the chat. But anyway, timing is absolutely a big issue. We're far enough in that in-season prices have fallen, but not enough. Sorry, somebody has the gall to call me right now. But not enough that everyone has won something yet. Peak frustration period. Josh, I was looking at some price charts yesterday. I tweeted one about Vinny Jr. In-season prices really aren't falling for the most part, not drastically. Now, granted, I was looking at like stars, but those are arguably the ones that you don't want dropping. But I don't know. So they've given people someone to blame now. Joe said the original rollout of Essence during the Euros created a lot of hype too. There were no tier 5s in the pool at all. And also every craft was guaranteed at least better than it should have been. Is that bad? Nanzo said Essence in boxes are participation trophies, not something to ever get mad about. I don't know if Nanzo's wrong. I'm not going to tell anybody but that they can't get mad at something. But it is more of a thank you for playing. Johnny said, I see Sorare data show in my Google search and Harry trade. So the more you support and like, I think it helps promote Sorare to football lovers. Just waiting on Quinny to pop up. Yeah. And Josh said, for a lot of smaller and medium accounts, their whole strategy is based on grinding Essence in boxes. Okay. Dream Oblivion, is it really hard to get a tier 5 reward card if you don't have elite cards, especially in limited? Even elite players need good matchups and a clean sheet. Keith Jameson in the house? Just checking in on 2x speed. Will be caught up soon. Now I kind of want to speak even slower just to make Keith wait. I'm just kidding. And there's me think you'd grown taller. It's not a big cushion. I probably just moved my camera. I'm not that tall. Kusje. Do you think the original idea was to have cards, essence, whatever, attached to the challenges? God, I hope not. Johnny said the chair is to help you be more frustrated with the chair than Sorare. That's funny. ZM Star said, Sorare data is getting lean. Laird's getting a stool at this point. I was considering a standing desk. Don't even need a chair. But for full like transparency about how I work, my full work day is not where I'm sitting right now. I only sit here to stream. So I have like a real chair that I sit in during the day. It's more of a true desk chair. But it's squeaky. And so having it on stream where I'm like adjusting, it's just too loud. Sauron said, to be honest, Essence itself offers something more to win, and it only feels bad as a result of the adjustment and lack of transparent communication around it. If it started at that level, no one would care. Totally agree. On both on like both parts of that. That one, nobody would care if this is where we started. It's not like if we started here, people would be like, man, that seems low. But they started really high, and they were like, all right, this is too high. We're going to adjust it. And we're all like, hey, you're stealing from us. Just Mike had said, if you could sell everything right now in a second, would you do it and abandon Sorare forever? We can all sell in a second and abandon Sorare. Just a matter of how much money you get. But no, Mike, I wouldn't. I like Sorare too much. It also happens to be very important for my job. But I think as a platform, it's great. And that actually, I'm over an hour in, and I haven't mentioned Sorare Homies yet, which is funny since Keith was here. But the latest episode with MPen, which nobody saw coming, talked a whole thing about how there was a time early on when Mike started writing about Sorare, basically Sorare sustainability, and why what was going on at the time wasn't sustainable and things would probably change. Keith and I were like, who the hell is this guy? Like, he sucks trying to ruin all this fun for us. And then he at one point he was like, this is why I'm selling all my cards. And it was basically like, I'm not sure this can continue. And we were like, good, get out. And then he wrote back, he wrote again. He was like, yeah, I bought back in because his game is really fun. And we were like, see, not realizing that like the wild prices that he sold out at smartly were unsustainable, but the game is still really fun. And so I actually there's so many things about Sorare that I absolutely love, that abandoning Sorare forever is just, it's way more than just me like walking away from a fantasy or a job. Like, I have a lot of fun doing a lot of things on Sorare. My job allows me to kind of accentuate that, which is great. And I get to talk to you guys. Andrea said, as I tried to highlight, changing amount for crafting or winning is exactly the same, but changing crafting devalues the essence people have saved up, which is unfair. That's okay. I get that. Connor said, my strategy was to get 3 roughly 2-star in-season boxes a game week with roughly 270 points and pull a card every 2 weeks. Now it'll be every 6 game weeks with the essence changes. It feels rugged. Hold on. Sorry. My strategy was to get 3 2-star boxes, 2-star in-season boxes per game week with roughly 270 points and pull a card every 5 game weeks. Now it will be 6 game weeks with the essence changes. I mean, what is a 2-star box? Like, what's the difference? I'm sorry for like just pushing. I'm not pushing back on it, but hold on. Let's see. What? I hate how they do these. Like, this like match center makes it so difficult for me to track anything. All right. So I'm looking at nothing that you guys can see. Sorry about that. Thought I was sharing my screen. Let's see here. So this is Challenger D1 in season. So, 2-star boxes don't even exist. So you need a lower. Here we go. So a 2-star box. Now it takes 4 weeks at a 5% outcome each game week to get to 20. That's what we're saying. Oh no, you were winning 3 of them. So previously you were winning basically what, 3 per week? 3 per box. 9 per week. So that's 2 weeks. And now it's less. I don't know if that was a great strategy. I mean, that's not fair. That's not fair to say. Yeah, I could see why you feel rugged. But I also think that that type of gameplay is what they, and actually somebody said that earlier, like that's the kind of gameplay they didn't want people to focus on. Where was that? I feel like it was Nanzo said it. It basically like the move away from threshold is what. Sorry. I don't know. But I think the idea of like grinding lower tier things is not the way that Sorare want the game to be played. They want people to like strive for the most. I don't know. Sora Malta said, I'm imagining the face on the guy when he realized he messed up the essence so bad, like waking up with a hangover thinking, what did I do last night? I don't think there was any of that. Like, I don't think, again, they were trying to project something that had no historical basis whatsoever. I think every one of us would have gotten it wrong. Deanne said, if you win money, why do you also need a box? Smooth Boy said, I'm glad they made Rivals rewards that pathetic since I don't feel the urge to waste my time on it. It was getting a bit out of control. Connor said, so now the tier 4 and 5s I bought are basically worth 67% less. Can they go much lower? Ricomon said, I don't get why the 4-star and 5-star boxes have less chance of credits than the 3, 2, and 1. So these are 2-star box in Division 4 has 50%, 20% of $10 in credits. In Division 1, or 10%. Oh, because you can win more essence? Gosh. Oh, sorry, I'm covering it up. Pierre M, what's up? Another one. Look at all these new people. This is phenomenal. I don't understand one thing. For me, it was a good thing that people crafted tier 5 since in proportion they distribute 1 star with 4,000 essence burned instead of 1 star with 1,000 essence burned at upper. It's not so like it's not the people craft it. It's not what they're giving away at each craft, tier 5 craft. It's the number of people who are doing it. Like essence burn doesn't matter. Like they distribute 1 star with 4,000 essence burned instead of 1 star with 1,000 essence burned. Like, I don't think the amount of essence burn matters. And it, I think what the number that we need to look at, I think, I should just have Peter come on, but I think the number is actually the number we need to focus on is the number of people who are crafting at the lowest level, because the more people who craft at tier 5, at milestone 1, means there are more star rewards being given out. If that makes sense. Like that makes sense in my head. Kind of is the answer from Peter, which is great. Like that's how I'm thinking of it. Just in terms of like, if there are 1,000 people who craft a card on a Tuesday, there are going to be 5 stars given out. CM Star said, I shouldn't have come to the stream today. I'm going to the Miami game tonight, and this is bringing me down too far. Oh, that's not great. That the stream's not bringing you, or that the stream's bringing you down. That game should be fun as hell, though. We could all use a messy a messy masterclass. Sorry, I was trying to pull up introducing Essence. Sorry, I'm looking for the blog post because I don't remember what the numbers were. Info about Essence. Here we go. This is what I was looking for. Did I fit that? There we go. So these are just like the milestones. Surface, are you looking for non-Essence questions from the chat? Sure. Let's do it. Make this stream more sustainable for those who don't want to hear anything about Essence. I think like our opinions are known now, and there's nothing Sorare, like they're not going to change it back. Server said, do you think Sorare would have been better off never introducing limiteds and long staying a much more exclusive premium product? Try to answer from a non-Sorare data business perspective. No, I don't. I don't think there is enough of a market for premium fantasy football digital cards that like it's not a very successful business. You run out of people who are interested in that product so quickly. And once you like, it's extremely difficult to grow a product, like an exclusive premium product that is so niche that the upside is just so limited. No pun intended. Do we think the idea for scarcity is just too far gone at this point and they should just uncap all of it? No. Do you think the idea for no. Nope. Scarcity absolutely exists. And while we haven't seen it enough in limited, like we're starting to get there in rare, this will be the first year I think that we really start to see it. And like if there's no scarcity limits, then and they can just, I mean, the whole, you guys like accidentally got us back to sustainability. The entire premise of Sorare is the scarcity. And what we were saying before, that when they try to model things or predict what's going to happen, the biggest issue they have is that this has not been done before, and there's not another company who is doing what they're trying to do. So they can't learn any lessons from other companies. I'm sure there's some little things that they can pick up, but there's the economics of Sorare are not duplicated anywhere else. The closest thing they had was two companies that went bankrupt because they had unlimited ability or unlimited supply. Like the scarcity limits keep Sorare in a business model that makes sense for users and for the company. And once we like the idea of going unlimited makes all of this like moot. It is gone. Quinny said, I love that I still don't know which S word the show is about. You came in late, Quinny. But it's Celtic. Colonel Dickweed said, you buy a rare with the thought that there is a ceiling of current and future mints. Yeah, absolutely. Nanzo said, I think limited scarcity is less of an issue than onboarding too many niche leagues too soon. So I realized I said niche before. Somebody called me out on saying niche instead of niche, but I'll try to use niche. It sounds nicer. So the niche leagues were brought on because they didn't have the prem. And I know that sounds weird, but there was a time where Sorare was like, we just want to have the best league. Like it was probably from day one. They were like, we want to have the big five leagues. And when the Big Five leagues wouldn't even pick up the phone when they tried to like get their licenses, and they had to go to the Jupiler League, and then these one-off West Ham, and then they got PSG and Real Madrid. And I think they, as a company, they had to go from, we just want the top leagues, to maybe we should just get as many of the smaller ones as we can get. And I think there was a time where the idea was, we're a global game, so like no matter where you live, we're going to have your league, and you could buy cards from your local club. And that's kind of like a cool idea, until we have all of these leagues we don't care about, and now we have the Prem. And so I'm convinced, and I don't know if Nikola has ever said it, but if he disagrees with what I'm about to say, I think he's lying. But if Sorare had the opportunity to just have the Big Five leagues from the start, they would never have done any of the other leagues. Server said, but long-term upside is less important than sustainability. Lots of products, the best brands are the premium versions of those products that aren't for the masses. Again, I think you're underestimating the number of people who are interested in like luxury products, and the number of people who like JPEGs of footballers. Dream of Oblivion said the game should be much simpler, less is more. I think the game's simpler now than it's ever been. Like, it can get super complicated. We know that. We talk about it all the time. I literally have a screen here that talks about limited, rare, and super rare milestones for Essence. But ultimately, the game is pretty simple. Buy a couple cards, jam them in a lineup, hope for the best. Connor said they had this whole thing of the top 20 leagues when they onboarded the second division leagues, and there was backlash. So again, I think what they said and what we heard were two different things. They always said they wanted the top 20 leagues. Never did they say we only want the top 20 leagues. And so when they could get others, they got them. That's why we got Mineiro and River Plate. Sora Malta said, I think they would have done the second tier leagues like Holland, Scotland, and Portugal, but definitely not like Korea and Japan. It's hilarious you put Scotland in there. I mean, maybe, but I think if they started with the top 5 and they introduced those other ones, they would be completely separate, like they are now, basically. Like Challenger would, but that would have been like a clear, like lower tier situation. And instead, for a long time, players from the Netherlands and Portugal and Korea and Japan were at the top of All-Star, beating the players in England and Germany. Ricoman said also they haven't even done Portugal fully. I don't think they will either. I think they are completely content with what they have from Portugal. I think that what they did with Turkey is what we'll see moving forward. Now, I don't know that. I don't have any inside information. Ricoman said it wouldn't shock me if they dropped more leagues. I agree. And I think that they're better off, like they dropped, oh yeah, La Liga 2. That's a weird one to drop that and not 2 Bundesliga. Like I don't know. But yeah, I don't see, I think the addition of the second divisions and the introduction of limiteds are often compared, like that they shouldn't have done them, but they came at very different times, and they were like, limiteds were absolutely needed when they launched them. They may not have been needed had they gotten all of the second divisions already. Server said, do you have any data or knowledge regarding in-season sales versus payouts for this year? Are they making money to cover the prizes at least? I mean, we probably have the data. I mean, we know how much they've been giving out. And we know how much they make on all of these cards. But I haven't seen a comparison. I do know that I think Mike Mpen wrote about it, that like they had to make a certain, in fact, I think he said it the other day. In fact, maybe it was in this. Hold on, let me see if I can pull this up. I think Mike said that they're paying out like up to 30% of, hold on. Here we go. He said, I've spoken about Sorare's estimated finances before, but as the game today, they're paying out roughly 25 to 30% in cash rewards. So there you go. Meaning of the revenue that they're generating. 2 Bundesliga has a huge following. Sure. Brand said, how do you know it's a supply problem and not them just wanting to sell more cards? I mean, there are only so many cards they can sell. Like they can only sell 60% of the mint, of the total mint. So ZM Star said, I think Bundes 2 and La Liga 2 makes sense because of Pro Rel and teams moving into the top 5. I agree with that. Like I don't hate that much. Peter said, I think Bundesliga and 2 Bundesliga are wrapped together for everything, including TV rights as an example. I thought La Liga was the same way, but I guess not. Weren't those Bundesliga moments cool? I miss those. Ricomon said they'll have to drop K-League and J-League together. If they only do one, it will be crazy. So I thought I read the other day that the J-League is considering going to the European calendar instead of like going through the summer. And if that's the case, I think you make the argument K-League is actually very easy to drop. I think from a user, from like a game experience, the K-League, because of B Pro and all the issues that they had with Opta. I was about to say, like, don't get me wrong, I love the K-League, but I don't. I love Cecina. Connor said they smashed it with limiteds. They earned so much money. They got the investments from SoftBank like a month after. I mean, that SoftBank agreement came well before they announced it. Blue Tomato said, as far as I know, the DFL owns the rights to Bundesliga 1 and 2, so they can only be sold in a bundle. That's fine. I mean, I think that's right. I mean, it makes it's a reasonable explanation for all of it. ZM Star said, I miss Zidane making pancakes. I will say that there was a great meme the other day. Somebody was like, what was it? Everybody's upset about the Essence cut. Nicola's there. Get Zidane on the phone or something. Apologies if I described that really poorly, but that was the essence of the joke. Get it? Like essence? That's what we're... No. Okay. Never mind. It was the Office meme. That's right. Go get Zidane. Yeah. Yeah. Who tweeted that? Was that out of context? Sorare? I mean, we haven't even talked about the fact that they have once in a lifetime experiences every single year. Sorry, we got a picture of the Hindbag. Hindbag? Excuse me, Hindbag. There it is. With the socks. Way to be Jimmy Jim. Super rare. Anyway, yeah, where was it? I thought I was out of... Oh, no. I don't know. Who posted it? Somebody share the link, please. Blue Tomatoes, did you see the Peter Mike stream about their RTG next week? No. I did not. What is it? I'm not a big RTG guy myself. I get it. But Sorare strats. Thank you, Scosmo. Oh, yeah. There it is. Sorare community meltdown over boxes nerf. Nicola to the team. Go get Zidane. Yeah, it's great. Just great. Service said, are you watching Yankees, Dodgers, or Miami, Atlanta? There is no way I'm watching MLS. And the Yankees, Dodgers are game 1 tonight. Service, I hope you guys have a great series and lose in 4. Surface is a Dodger fan. I'm a Yankee fan. So we have a little World Series thing going. Anyway. Whew, that was a good one. Blue Tomato said, I commented this as an idea for a Sorare data show, I think last week or so. You liked it. About Peter and Mike doing a Road to Glory? I liked that. I'm just kidding about with that tone, but I don't remember that. Oh, I'm sorry. About like about their battle? Is that what you mean? Not like them, the two of them starting a Road to Glory. I wouldn't trust either of those guys with a Road to Glory. They just buy the stars and play it. Yeah, exactly. Oh, okay. Bruzel said the world is a better place when the Yankees never win anything ever. Sorry, Laird. The world was a gorgeous place in the late 90s and early 2000s when they won all the time. Blue Tomato is a great idea. Peter, we're doing a show next week. Maybe. Mike's actually the hard one to pin down. That guy's super busy, getting 20,000 steps a day playing golf until like midnight. Although that's running out. Maybe Mike will be a lot more active when it gets really cold in Norway and he has to just stay inside all the time. Yeah, we'll see. I think that's all I got today. Maybe, is there like anything else you guys want to talk about? It felt very serious. Mike's pants stayed on the whole time. I feel bad. And ZM Star was down now. Scosmo said, have you considered hosting this Friday show on Spaces as a space on X so you can interact with people in real time and wider community guests and voices? I'll be honest, I didn't even know Spaces still existed. I hate it. I say that having not listened to one in a long time. So Scosmo, the answer is no, I have not considered it. And I don't think I'm going to do that. Not that I don't like hearing about people in real time and wider community. I don't know who these wider communities are. But yeah, sorry, Bran. I do hate Spaces. Yeah. So do they still happen? Like, do people actually still host Spaces on Twitter X? That's wild. I use TweetDeck and I just have a bunch of lists. And so I don't see what's in most people's feeds. So I just use Twitter and I still call it Twitter because I am bitter. And yeah, maybe one day, Scosmo, if you can convince me on why that would be good. Blue Tomatoes, will you play the French special? I have cards for it. Not total. Not enough, but I'm getting there. Brand said I'm a boomer because I don't like Spaces. I am. Sora Malta said, I'm going shopping for parsnips tomorrow for the Sunday roast. Oh, all right. Maybe I'll get some this weekend. Maybe I'll make a roast. It's still too warm. It's really warm where I am. So having a roast when it's warm, it just feels weird. Yeah, just feels weird. Anyway, yeah, that's good enough for me. Thank you to everybody for coming. If you could please like the stream because it helps get it to more people, and getting to more people just makes me feel better. So yeah, if you could just do that, that's really appreciated. And he's asking parsnip specific shopping. No, going out just for parsnips. They have them at every grocery store, supermarket. Let's pick up some parsnips. Anyway, thank you everybody for coming. If you could please like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Shout out to Quinny. And yeah, I'll be back next week. If there's anything specific you guys want to hear, like getting MPen and Peter, what's his name, on to talk about their race to D1. I'm all ears. You know where to find me. And if you don't, just look it up. Anyway, thanks everyone. Shout out to everyone who was here in the chat. That was a very lively chat, passionate opinions and arguments, and I love it. Thank you very much for coming. Thank you to everybody who is watching later and we're not in the live chat. Bummer, you missed out a good one. And for anyone who is listening to the audio version of this, particularly those who are doing so, getting their steps in, shout out to you. Good luck this weekend.